All right, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the next session on reinventing an industry. So please make welcome Samar AlSultan from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Ben van Beurden, the Chief Executive Officer of Royal Dutch Shell PLC. A warm applause, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I'm very honored to be with you today. And I'm also very honored to be with Mr. Van Beurden and be able to ask him questions that are, may be relevant to all of you about his career and his advice. So welcome, Mr. Van Beurden. Welcome to Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very much, and assalamu alaikum to all of you.
Mr. Ben, you've joined Shell in 1983. I was born in 1989. I mean, like, you started your career before I even was born, and I think even before most of our audience was born. So this is so fascinating, which brings me to my first question. Being in a company for that long, does it make it harder or easier to remain able to change or reinvent within the company?
Well, that's a very good question to ask, and indeed, 35 years feels very, very long. Probably it is very long. I'm 60 this year, but it doesn't feel as if I'm 60.
You don't look like it.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind. But you can look at our company and our industry and say, well, it's, of course, an industry that hasn't changed very much. And I would contest that. I think our industry has seen a tremendous amount of change since the beginning of this industry. And as a matter of fact, today, of course, we see a continuation of that change. Basically because there are big forces at play that will inevitably change all of us, like the energy transition, but also digitalization. These are two big megatrends we cannot ignore, and therefore we have to adapt for us to be able to thrive. I think, being longer in the industry has some advantages. It has some disadvantages as well. Let's be honest about it. I think if you want to change with everything that is happening around us, of course you need a clear vision and a clear purpose. I think it's helpful if you are a bit longer around that you can articulate that purpose. But what I find very helpful about the young generations is that they are much more purpose and vision driven than I used to be when I was your age, and honestly, Samar. I had a pretty sort of simple outlook on life. And I think most people I come across who join the company are much more clear about what they want to do, what they feel the company needs to do. So that is a bit of a help on both sides. I think when it comes to change, there's a few things, big change, there's a few things you have to get really clear in your mind. First of all, humility. It's very easy to be sort of arrogant or too enthusiastic and just get on with things, taking risks that are inappropriate. The other thing is a real clear sense of where is the value, why is this going to work? And thirdly, determination to win, so a capacity to stay the course and to act with conviction. And if you look at these three qualities, some of it is really helped by experience and being around a bit longer. Yeah. And in some cases, you need the power of youth and the vigor and resilience of young people to see it through. So I think, is it an advantage? Yes. But is it the only way you can work it? No. Does it have disadvantages to be sort of more advanced in your years? Yes, also. So we need all of that, Samar.
That's amazing. What's new in the oil industry, and what are you excited about?
Well, if you talk about the oil industry, lots of things are exciting and new. Of course, our industry, many people would say that's an industry of last century. Certainly in the Western world, it might not really feel when you are in the kingdom where, the oil industry is such an important part of the economy and where companies like Saudi Aramco are such a beacon of technological excellence. But many people in other economies take energy for granted and take oil for granted and think as something of the past. If you look at the trends that are going on in our industry, if you look at the oil part of it, is absolutely amazing. The things that we can do with artificial intelligence, the things that we can do with digital in general. We currently, drill wells in Argentina from our drill centers in Canada, Calgary. We use an artificial intelligence to drill wells automatically or to maybe even find where is the best place to actually place a well. We run our facilities with big data in ways that we couldn't imagine even less than 5 years ago. So technology brings tremendous amount of opportunity and change. But I think it's also important to not just look at our industry as the oil industry. If you look at it a bit broader as the energy industry,
Yes.
It's amazing what else is going to open up. It's all about bringing new types of energy, like natural gas, for instance, but also electricity into the system. If you really believe that we are going to double the energy demand in the world and also stay within the Paris agreements limits, we will have to build a much bigger electricity system as well. And that's, I think, an equally big challenge for us that as a company like Shell, we need to embrace. So we're going to need everything. We're going to need oil, gas, biofuels, another area, electricity. So a lot of things happening that, if you are a technologist, if you are a finance person, if you are a commercial people, you can really apply your mind into it.
Yeah, that's often the thing in established and big companies. But I think people in my generation are more attracted to industries that didn't exist a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And perhaps because we think we can make bigger changes there or bigger impact. Do you think we're missing something?
No, I think, as I said earlier on, Samar, I think it's very important that every generation will have its imprint on society. I think, again, this generation, as I see it now, and to reveal my age once more, I have children your age as well, so I know how much the differences can be as well. Yeah. But the sense of purpose, the vision, wanting to do something meaningful. When I joined Shell because I wanted to see the world. People who now join Shell want to actually do something meaningful for the world. And in that sense, I think it's great to have that sense of purpose in the company. And of course, with it also comes the desire to work on new stuff. A company that doesn't exist yet, or new technologies, etc. And that's fine. I think we all need that. And as a company like Shell, we need to make sure that we interact with society in a different way, that we bring new ideas in, that we work with young entrepreneurs, that we develop new entrepreneurs, that we bring their ideas in, that maybe ultimately you bring the entire company in if you think it's a fantastic idea. Yeah. But I would also say to young entrepreneurs and people who really want to make a big difference, our industry is also making big differences as well. If you really want to impact at scale, if you really want to have a very meaningful role in the world of the future, I think our industry is a great example of how we do that, not just by provision of oil and gas, but think of providing energy, access to energy to the 2 billion people who do not have it. That's a challenge of this world as well, that companies like us can bring unique advantages to. So I think if you are purpose-driven, there's something for us, for you in our company as well.
Speaking about myself, I think purpose comes before financial comfort, and opportunity comes before security. And it's really important to be in the service of, in any project that I'm working on, to be in the service of something that's greater than me. What do you think is, or what do you want the audience to know? What is the main and the bigger purpose of Shell as a company?
I think it's a very good point, Samar. I think it's a lot of sort of casual observers of companies like us or industries like us think that it's all about profit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if they are a little bit more sort of financially informed, they think it's all about securing dividends for pension funds or whatever it is. And that is very important, by the way. You have to bear in mind that,
Yes.
you know, without strong economic foundations, there is no sustainability. But I've set 3 priorities, 3 ambitions for the company that I think we need to fulfill. One of which is indeed, absolutely, we need to be a world-class investment case for our investors. Without that, we do not have the license to do anything. Yeah? We are, after all, a business.
Definitely.
But secondly, with all the changes that are happening in the energy system, we have to make sure that we remain a very relevant company, not just, you know, next year, but also next decade and maybe the rest of the century. So thriving in the energy transition, making sure that our company continuously adapts and is successful, not just merely surviving, but really successful, is a very important aspect as well. That's the second ambition. And the third ambition, which is, I think, very much also, you know, I would almost say inspired by what youth today brings to the society's awareness, is we have to respond to the bigger good. It's not just good enough anymore to say, you know, we get the basics right and we sell useful products and we, you know, we're a responsible investor and we create employment. All of that is absolutely needed, but it's actually a given. What we also need to do is, you know, being seen as a force for good in society, which is that we are being seen as a trusted partner for people to work with, but also that we, like in my case, do something which is really meaningful for the planet. I think it is really meaningful to bring access to energy to those who do not have it. And that's why we, for instance, have set a goal that by 2030, I want Shell to provide electricity, affordable electricity, to 100 million customers around the world who currently don't have it. Wow. And not as a charity, but actually, you know, as a business, because only through business solutions can we achieve scale and can we achieve sustainability.
That's amazing to know. I have one last question. If you were my age today, what kind of career you would actually pick?
Well, actually that's quite a difficult one. And I can answer the question in a number of ways. And if you don't mind, I will answer it in a number of ways. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah? Go ahead.
So I think if I look back at my career, and I would be your age again, or the age of my son, my oldest, and think, you know, would I want to have this career again? I would say absolutely. I think I had an amazing career. I'm still having an amazing career, by the way. And it's something I would never have dreamt of. I came from a very normal working class family. As I said earlier on, I joined Shell to see the world, and I studied chemical engineering because I liked chemistry, and there wasn't much more to it. I never dreamt of being a CEO of one of the largest companies in the world and doing the things that I currently do. But if I just see how my career went, I think it's amazing, and if I could have it again, I would have it again. But I'm not sure what I would choose if I was given the choice today. Would I choose chemistry again? Probably, you know, I would be seduced by all sorts of other things, sure, like digital technologies, etc., etc. But if your question is more like, what would you advise, what is really important? What I've learned still is 2 things are really important if you want to be successful. Whatever you choose and however you want to play your career, make sure that there is a strong foundational profession that you have, be it an engineering profession or a finance profession or commercial or a strong digital profession, IT or whatever else. It is incredibly important to be able to fall back on a core skill that you really understand and from which you can always operate again. And the second skill, which is equally important, is the human skill of collaboration. Because quite often if I see the really complicated goals in Shell or in any large company depend on the way the leader or the leadership team is able to integrate different skills in really achieving the goals that we want to achieve. And that is a challenge that everybody can contribute to. So, no matter how much you like your profession or like your job, don't fall in love with it so much that you actually lose the sight of the bigger goal. Because that's in the end how you make impact, but also how you make progress and how you make a career, by being able to know your stuff, but also being able to really work together to contribute to the common goal.
So collaboration is one of the most important skills that our young generation should have.
No, I think it is, and of course, I think there is more ability to do that. We have more tools and more methods to collaborate and communicate than we ever had before.
Yeah.
The ease with which we can communicate and through social media, through other digital means, the way we can video connect around the world, it's absolutely amazing what can be done. But on the other hand, all these things, in my mind, are also too much taken for granted and insufficiently used to the benefit of achieving goals. So yes, let's make sure that all the tools and all the modern technology that we have, we really use through also a strong individual will to contribute to a bigger collective goal.
And in terms of contribution, do you allow people in young professional within Shell to be part of the process of change or development within the company?
We have no choice. And not only do we have no choice, they have to be part of new ways of working if we want to be really good at not only at sort of digital solutions, but also the new way of working that digital brings.
Okay.
Agile working styles, etc.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask my executive team to figure out how to do it. We have to work through young groups of people to actually show us the way. I'm not going to be the inventor of the digital way forward in our company. If anything, I'm probably the biggest blocker, not because I want to be, but simply because I'm not used, I'm not enabled in the same way as young people are. I think it's the young people's voice in the things that we want to do, like, where are the new business opportunities? Where are the things that we want to be different? Where does the innovation come from? How do we reach out to innovators outside the company? That is, I think, where particularly the strength of younger generations comes in. And if we ignore that, we do that at our peril. So bringing in all the strengths that we have, particularly also the unique strengths of young generations inside and outside the company, is in my mind absolutely the key to success.
That's a word of wisdom, so thank you very much for that. One last thing, what is the most important skill of tomorrow?
The most important skill of tomorrow? I think I would still go back to the skill of collaboration. And that is not just something that, and collaboration with the aim to achieve a higher goal, or the aim to achieve the goal that collectively we all feel we need to get to, rather than individual goals. And that is not just in business. I think that's also in politics, and that's also in society. And indeed, the paradox is that even though we have better tools and methodologies available than ever before, it also somehow feels harder than ever before to collaborate.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening to us.
Thank you, Samar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Thank you very much.